Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Andang,
Hey everybody.
Atheros,
Hey, etc.
Draculetta,
Greetings, everybody.
Sithrith,
Hello.
and Braxwolf.
Hello, Lotro.
And hello, everyone. And we'll begin with our game news this week. And first thing is notes from Livestream. So apparently there were some announcements at Livestream. What was this about, Andang?
Yes, well, our star reporter, Bloodborne, who hasn't reported on much, but he's doing a good job this week because he actually watched the stream, which I don't think anyone else did this week. And he was pleasantly surprised because Forlorn actually gave some things to look forward to next week. The producer's letter has been delayed, and it was finally confirmed that they are still planning to release a producer's letter just the first week of next year. So
Well, that's a more
possibly,
typical timeline for it anyway.
yeah, but they did say they were going to try to get it out this year, but they didn't. So anyway, Forlorn, this is a quote from Bloodborne. Forlorn did say that pretty much everyone is going to want to read this one, from players who enjoy the traditional content to group content to players who want system fixed to PvP players. And he continues on saying, now it is possible that this is a little bit of fluff, but I am excited nonetheless. So it's a promise of something.
But what? We don't know yet.
We all know how promises can go with Turbine. It's really 50-50 if it's going to be fulfilled or not.
Yeah, they get a bit ambitious during the start of the year.
Yeah, but I am intrigued, especially since they're once again saying PvMP stuff. I'm really tired of them holding that carrot above that player group. Say what you're going to do or don't do anything. One of the two. The rest of the stuff sounds good. I'm glad to hear that they're planning group content. Probably just an epic battle in Minas Tirith, but who knows? Maybe not.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But anyway, in 2 weeks' time, on episode 79, we should know what's going on. So that's kind of exciting.
All right. So therefore, not much else to say other than that, unless you want to do some speculation right now.
It's the end of the year. It's a good time to speculate if you want to. What do you want to speculate about, Pineleaf?
I don't know. I just want to know if any of you had any speculation on what is going to be in that letter, or do you think we should just save it since we're all going to be wrong anyway?
I'm going to probably be either wrong or right on this, but I'm predicting no new class in 2015.
Hey,
I'm
that
saying
was
it
my
right
prediction
now.
last year.
I'm going out there.
Yeah, you're really off on a limb there.
Does anyone else want to make a wild prediction? Or it's very safe, depending on how you view it.
At least one thing they promise isn't going to happen.
That's
well, yes,
probably
that's
true.
probably going to be true. We are.
At the very least, won't happen in the year they promise it in.
Okay, if we're making wild predictions, I'm going to say they're going to announce they're going to have a raid, and then 2 months later they're going to push it back, and it's never going to come out.
Okay.
I don't know about never, but I could see not this year. They push it back and it ends up not being
Okay,
this year.
it'll get severely delayed. I'll put it that way.
There you go. Just trying to help you make
severely delayed.
just trying to make you make a logical prediction, but anyway, not that it really matters.
Postponed indefinitely.
Pineleaf, do you have a crazy prediction?
Do I have a crazy prediction that we will finally actually get to see violins in this game?
Oh.
And this, of course, means that I am talking about crazy here. That's right. We will not only or fiddles if you prefer, since that's probably the way they're going to be used more often anyway. And we will actually see fiddles, and that means not only getting the sound for it, but also the appearance, because you can't see fiddles unless they actually put in the artwork.
Mm-hmm. And Atharos, do you have a wild prediction?
Nope. I'm not expecting them to do anything.
Okay. And Brax, I don't
Yeah,
remember if you
same.
gave one or not.
No, I have a wild one.
All right.
I predict, because like Pinely said, we're always wrong anyway. I predict that they will announce an expansion. Not that they will launch one, but they will announce one.
Honestly, I could see that. Minas Tirith is really the only time that I think it's going to be possible. And it'll be interesting to see, and this is a discussion I've kind of wanted to have, is do you think that it was wise from Turbine's point of view to not have an expansion this year?
Hmm.
And that's a
I
very
think-
tough question, but
I
And we
think
kinda
they
talked
did
about it a
what
bit
was. I think they did what was most financially viable for them. I think if they could have created an expansion in terms of the resources, money, and people they had, I think they would have done it.
wouldn't they
Well-
also have brought in more money if they did an expansion?
Yes, presumably, which means that the effort it would have
Potentially,
taken to make one would not have been worth what they would have gotten, or what they think they would have gotten from it.
Well,
Okay.
how can you hype up Central Gondor as an expansion?
And I
Well,
mean
we
that's
presume
kind
they
of the
would have
tough
brought
part.
both.
I mean
That's. Go ahead.
that's really the tough part. I mean, the thing is though, in previous years they've had a side zone and an expansion, a side zone and an expansion. And so I think if they would have done that again this year, they probably would have brought in more money. And I'm not saying that they would have been able to save any employees or anything, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, they probably would have had to given us more landscape though, and I think that would have meant probably foregoing the new class.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Or, the new class would be included as like the substitute for group content in the expansion.
Yeah, possible.
All right, very well. Then let's go on to the next thing, and it looks like we are continuing the great MMO face-off, where Lord of the Rings Online was set up against the World of Warcraft. Not exactly what you would call an opponent you'd want to face.
But soundly, and I say soundly, beat 56.2% to 43.8%.
That's not soundly beaten.
It is in
When
these
you're
kind
up
of
dealing
against
with
fights.
Warcraft,
It
Yeah.
is in
Yeah.
these kind of fights. And there's been a lot of people who I've talked to who have said, these fights don't really matter. They're not important. And on the one hand, that's completely true. They don't mean anything. It's just the number of fans that can go and
I think I
vote
said that.
versus others. You were one of the people. um, and my response to that is, that's true, but how many people view MMORPG, and particularly this particular article, and see that LOTRO beat out WoW? And how many of those people would want to try out LOTRO for the first time because of it? I think that that'd be fairly high. Especially with the Hobbit film right about now, people might not have known about LOTRO. I mean, there's still a lot of people out there that have never heard of LOTRO. There's people who send me IMs and messages on my YouTube channel that say that it's the first time they've ever even heard of Lord of the Rings Online. And I think that these type of things are very important for, it gives essentially websites and players a chance to market LOTRO, because Warner Brothers isn't really marketing LOTRO right now. And so it's awesome that we beat out World of Warcraft.
Okay, I see what's wrong here. I'm looking at the graphic at our site, and it shows WoW beating us.
That is the graphic that was used when the article was written.
Ah, okay, that's the
If you
problem.
go
I
and
was
look
looking-
at the results to the actual thing,
LOTRO
we are
actually-
ahead and have been ahead most of the week.
Okay,
I really think this says a lot more about the community than it does about the game.
I definitely agree for sure, but I think that at the very least, it's a chance for these smaller MMOs to really promote themselves, especially when they beat out something like WoW. I know it's just, community against community, but I think it's really cool that we were able to do that because WoW definitely has more players.
Yep.
And it looks like looking at the who's left, DDO was up against Eve, and Eve beat them. So it looks like LOTRO is going to go against Eve in the next round.
And Eve has a very passionate fan base.
oh yeah.
Mhm.
So get out and vote. I believe it's this next week, or are they taking off for Christmas? I'm assuming they're
They
going.
said they are going to do it next week, so
Okay, so sometime in the future, go and vote for Lotro.
yeah, it's usually Monday or Tuesday is when voting starts. I'll be sure I'll post up a post when it starts.
All right. Thank you for correcting my impression on there. Because I was hearing all you're talking, I said, wait a minute, okay, but that was an old graphic there.
Yep.
Very well. Then let's go into the store sales. Draculetta, what's on sale this week?
Free sample of the week is a third age item trove. Use coupon code 3age1. 3age1. As always, you get one of those per account. 20% off the Bjorning, which is the first time that has been on sale.
Okay, is it 20% or 25%?
25%.
Okay.
Also, Roomkeeper, Warden, character slots, and Slayer Deed accelerators, all at 25% off. Also, double points through January 1st. So if you want to buy some points and buy a Bjorning, now would be the time to do that. And Yule Festival is running through January 13th, in case you did not know.
All right, well, so head on down to Winterhome and start running in the festival if you like to get the various cosmetics there. And is there something okay, there is a guide coming on later on, so let's go on to our site news. So
Real
let's begin
quick,
with
those who have done the festival, how does it compare to previous years? Because I haven't heard anybody talk about it yet.
It's just the same, isn't it?
Yeah, nothing's changed
pretty much the
at
same.
all.
Just a few
Um,
new cosmetics.
Just a better steed, and that's it.
Yeah, and
And robe.
the Grim Pets too. That's
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I forgot about
That's
that. Yeah,
the
that's pretty
big-
cool.
change.
But all the
is
quests
Mhm.
are the same.
Okay.
and it's still deed gated as well for rewards.
Mhm.
Yes. All right, so we'll head into our site news and we'll begin with Lotro Players Adventures episode 42 where we explore Pineleaf's imaginary world.
It sounded optimistic at the start of the title and then got sad by the end finally.
Well, I am just trying to think I'm trying to think what I was
I
imagining.
know why it's called that.
Sithra
It's
does because she made it.
It's because we were talking about Guild Wars 2, and you said you didn't realize that the Sylvari were plant people.
Oh,
And we
okay.
commented on you living. You said you were just living in your imaginary world, that they were not plant people. But they are.
Alright. Very well. And that's what's called Pineleaf's imaginary world. So now let's go into someone decided to survey flossing, decided to look through 7 years of Lotro, looking back at 7 years of Lotro, plus going through everything they got for the last year in Hobbit presents. And this is quite a mix from Hobbit presents from 2013 and 2014, including 142 gold, 100 mithril coins, 4,000 shards, 21,920 marks, no medallions or seals, LI runes, 856,000 XP, 78 plus 5% attack bonus, 7 tomes of defense, a morale potion, 1, 63 10% run speeds, 61 Daleman's crams, 21 rejuvenation potions, 9 scrolls of finesse, 4 100% craft XP boosts, 9 simple rally horns, 28 armor pieces, 21 20% mount speed, 90 minutes, 30 combat run speed bonuses, 1 starlit crystal, 19 relics, 1 worn symbol of the Elder King. Oh, that one's a bit of a surprise.
That is pretty surprising.
58 scrolls of max morale and power, 90 minutes. 2 tomes of extraordinary experience, 9 universal morale potions, 1 tome of might or will, etc. So therefore it looks like 1 tome, 9 universal power potions, 1 legacy tier upgrade, 3 universal toolkits, 2 landscape soldier tokens. I'm surprised they only got 2 of those, and 3 reputation accelerators.
Our 365 days of Hobbit presents.
Yeah.
Forget 12 Days of Yule. We got our own song that is really just Pine Leaf Reading, but it's our own song.
Our own song.
This spreadsheet is almost up to Pine Leaf level of insanity as far as the amount of detail
It
that's gone
looks
into.
like a Pine Leaf skirmish guide. It really does. That's kind of the level of there's a few less templates and charts and stuff than in Pine Leaf skirmish guides, but it's pretty close up there, Flossin. I'm impressed.
All right.
This really is one of the best articles I think we've had this year. He goes into so much detail, and it really seems like he did a lot of research and really focused on this article. And if you're interested in his history in LOTRO or what's happening with Hobbit presents from someone who took time to really look into it, this is a pretty good article.
Right then. Andang, I hear that you decided to do a video series of Central Gondor.
Yeah, isn't that just so surprising, Pine Leaf?
I even heard a rumor that there was a competitor.
Competitor?
Yeah.
I heard that he might be the host of LOTRO Players News.
It's a possibility.
But yeah, I did voice Central Gondor, and had a lot of fun going through it. The story was a lot better than I thought it would be, and as always, it's just fun to make up the various characters, and sometimes I'd like to think that I do a little bit better voiceover job than Turbine, but it's not that hard in some cases, let's be honest. But there weren't that many really weird voices in Central Gondor this time, so I thought that was a good improvement. But yeah, I did have fun going through the story and voicing it, so if you're interested to hear it voiced and have a few jokes along the way, it's a series you might be interested in.
Right. And that will be at the PVMP Ending YouTube channel.
Yep, and also a link in the show notes to the article.
And there was also a series, if you want a slightly more serious version one, at the Pine Needles channel, where I do it in more of a role-playing point of view rather than as a general commentary as Andang does it.
I think he just called you out, Andy.
I think he did.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty
It depends
crazy.
on whether people prefer role-playing or whether they prefer to avoid the role-playing
Yeah,
stuff.
I recommend they try out both.
Well, that might help. And we head on to episode 23 of the family line of Emerald and Gold. And what's Emerald and what's Gold?
I don't know, but I was surprised the series was still going back at episode 16. So you can imagine my surprisement now that it's still going. This is awesome. And it's still getting better, Pineleaf. I don't know how. I keep thinking it's as good as it can get, and then it keeps getting better. And it's just a fantastic story, and I can't wait to see where it continues to go, assuming it continues to go.
Well, you don't... Did he say the end at the end of this week's?
No, but a good storyteller doesn't just end a story with the end, Pineleaf.
All right, I guess you have a point there.
And really, all stories never come to an end.
So you're saying that he's writing the never-ending story.
It's possible. He might have one of those Skyrim quest generators and is just continuing to make story. But it's fantastic, so I hope he doesn't stop.
All right, very well. Then let's head on to Brax's pick of the week. And what are we looking into this week?
Well, let me kind of set the stage here, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's kind of a sad way to start off the pick this week. A lot of people have noticed in the past week, including myself, as they go out to search for Yule Festival guides, that casually strolling through MMOs, formerly casually or casual stroll to Mordor, is no longer online as a website. So it kind of marks the end of a LOTRO era there for real now. You know, we had the podcast go offline a couple years ago, and that was rough. And since Golden Star hasn't had a lot of time to post to the website, it was just getting to, I'm guessing it was getting to be to a point where they couldn't really maintain it or didn't have the desire to maintain it. So
Probably expensive to keep up the domains and
From
stuff like that.
from what I
Exactly.
talked with them, it sounded more just a desire to not maintain it anymore. When the main thing is, Middle Earth Network decided to stop hosting a lot of sites, and so CSTM has actually been offline since that happened, since when Middle Earth Network turned off their servers. They do have the files of their website, so they do have a backup if they ever wanted to move it. But the problem is, it's not WordPress doesn't work to where you can just port it back on and everything will be all fine and dandy. It takes a lot of work to rebuild a site, and so I think that's the main thing is they just don't want to put in that amount of work because I mean just moving over Lotro players was a nightmare in how much work it took, and we've only moved over our site once. They've moved over their site several times, and so it'd be even more complicated. So I definitely
So the point,
understand why they
yeah,
didn't want to.
absolutely. The one thing that Golden Star had continued to maintain was the festival guides, and
Hmm.
now people are actually coming to her and asking, "Hey, where did the site go?" Because I'm looking for the Yule Festival guide, and what she's actually pointing them to the Lotro Wiki Yule Festival guide, which is my pick of the week this week because I went over there to take a look to see why she was pointing them over there, and it is actually a very very good guide. It is actually kind of in the style of what she wrote it. It has kind of a description of all the quests and the deeds, and it shows pictures of the cosmetics and all of the items that you can barter for. So, if you're wondering how to get what at the Yule Festival, what the deeds are, and what the cosmetics look like, I would point you over to Lotro Wiki. There's a specific page for the 2014 Yule Festival, which has the specific cosmetics for this year on it. The only thing that would make this page better, I think, would be if Golden Star would have written it. But other than that, it's a very good guide, and wanted to point that out. We haven't called Lotro Wiki out a whole lot in this podcast, but it is an excellent site for Lotro information.
Absolutely.
And so this is just one of those pieces that you can find there.
All right, and one of the things to note is that one of the new items they have there is a new robe, and this year's robe is probably the best robe they've released in Lotro for a long time. It doesn't really look like a robe to me. It looks almost more
It's
like a tunic.
Well, it uses one of the newer robe texture models that I think this specific one was introduced with Rise of Isengard. You could find some robes from that era with this kind of model. Also, I'd like to point out that on female characters, the robe stops just above the knee, whereas with male characters, the robe goes all the way down to the ankles. So keep that
Ah,
in mind.
okay. That's the thing that because I had done it on one of my pine leaves, so therefore
Mm,
so therefore I saw the shorter version.
right. Yeah, so it is definitely, it's still a robe, technically, yes. However, I'm just pleased that they decided to use a different robe model than the same boring, like level 5 robe model that they've been using for over a year for all of the festival rewards now. And on top of that, they also made a new texture model for the comparison for the war steed and steed instead of just the plain tablecloth with whatever wintry pattern they came up with. This one actually does have like different like bits cut out of it, and it's got these big not ribbons but like pieces of cloth kind of draped around it, and it's really nice. I actually went and got them this year for once.
I actually got them myself. I got those two things plus a fire grim.
Mm.
So let's go into news beyond LOTRO, and we'll begin with Shadow of Mordor, Lord of the Hunt DLC trailer. And
Yes.
Andang, what is this all about?
Yes, Pine Leaf. This is the first real big DLC pack for Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. Before they've had challenges and character skins and stuff like that, but this is the first, um, not really expansion, but just bigger DLC pack. And it includes story missions as well as various hunt missions and different types of new titles and skills and stuff like that that basically just expand the game. And so it's nice that they're finally getting into those story missions that they had promised the people who bought the season pass. And this is free for everyone who has the season pass. It's $9.99 though for those that don't have the season pass, which seems a little expensive for what you're getting. I haven't actually played through it, but it sounds like that there's not that much new story stuff, and it's definitely not like the main story. It's just more a story with one of the characters that was in the story. So it's if you're interested, I'd recommend checking out the trailer and maybe doing a little bit of research on the internet. Um, but it does look like a good addition. I'm kind of on the fence though, if I want to pick it up myself.
All right then. And we also have a new film coming up, The Rangers. All right, who is doing this film?
Well, it is from the same people who did Rise of the Fellowship, if you remember last year, Pine Leaf. That film. It is being done by a lot of the same people, and this was actually kickstarted to be a TV show, and we actually wrote an article on that as well. Um, and I don't remember if they reached their goal or not. I don't think they quite made it, but they are now going to be doing it as a film or maybe even a film series. And so this is that thing, and so this is the trailer for this film and it looks really good. It's set in their own little world, but it follows a lot of the same themes of Tolkien's Rangers, and so I think it'd be pretty interesting for anyone who likes the Rangers and Tolkien.
Does that mean that they're all going to get killed in the same way as the Great Company?
That has not been revealed yet, finally, but it'll be interesting to find out.
All right, very well. And it looks like there is another episode of Man at Arms, and looks like they have decided to make Sauron's mace.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I want this. I want
You
this
want
finally.
that mace?
I want Sauron's mace. It shows their entire construction process of how they actually went about building Sauron's mace, and then it goes into the destructiveness on various fruit and other items, and it's pretty awesome. I really want Sauron's mace.
You want Sauron's mace. All right. I wonder how much they will charge for that one.
Just a ring.
Just a ring. Just a ring. Oh, yes. The smallest, I'm trying to remember the exact quote. Sorry. The least of rings, we shall say.
As long as you bid more than Isengard, I think you're good.
Well, Isengard only bids 5.
That's right.
All right. And we also learned from Brotherhood Workshop, what Azog's battle plan is for the Battle of Five Armies?
This is hilarious. This is hilarious. It makes it definitely makes a parody of not only the movies, but also the books. If you take out Azog as being that character and replace it with just a generic orc captain from the books, and so it's really funny and it makes a whole lot of sense. And I don't want to spoil it, so I just recommend checking it out.
All right, thank you very much. So therefore, we will then head into donations. And this week we did not receive any Patreon mentions, but we would love your support. And you could go to LOTRO Players at the donations page where you could support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you will find rewards including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even a guest spot in an episode of LOTRO Players or Players Adventures. As for feedback, we do not have any reviews on iTunes, but we do have a featured comment from Barnabas, who left a comment on last week's show. Nice origin story. I like the fact that even though they were having a potluck, they still speak as if they were doing a podcast. I didn't realize that Braddock was in the story until I read the show notes. Andang should have used the famous Bombadil voice to distinguish between the two. That leads me to another thought, an Andangadil origin story.
Oh no. Oh
And I
no.
think Andang should read this email from Barnabas.
In the voice of Tom Bombadil.
Right. So Barnabas did write in an email, and I'm gonna start out reading the first part normally since it is his little message to me. Okay, Andang, you know what to do. Barnabas. I'm nervous. I'm nervous because I don't want to mess this up. Alright, here we go.
You got this.
Hey do, Mary do! My name is Andang Adil, and some think me silly. Just because I like to say hey do a dilly dilly. Andang Adil speaks like Wilford Brimley. Come along, everyone. Have you seen Gimli? LOTRO Players needs more sayers. Pineberry's ready. He's counting down. If we don't hurry, he's going to frown. Andang Adil climbs over rocks and up a hill, right around Ted Sandyman's mill, all the way to the top of Amonsul. Andang is hungry. He's beginning to drool. Hey do, Mist. When you're done a killin', come along, my podcast needs a fillin'. Seriously, Mist, come on the podcast. Pineberry has lunch waitin'. Quickly now, there's no debatin'. Hey there, Sithrith, with costume a-changin'. Hurry along, no time for gamin'. Pretty steel outfit full with gold flake. Oh no, we need a page break. Hey there, Shurs, stop your creepin'. Seriously, it's creepy. I know it's late, no time for sleepin'. Is that Brax behind the trees? Come along now, I did say please. There is Drac, as pale as death. Ew. Come on, lad, I need your breath. Lilicate, it's not too late. Just pack your animals inside a crate. My name is Andang Adil, and I'm a lovely fellow. I'm very nice, I never bellow. Hey do, Mary do. Hey do, a dairy do. LOTRO Players needs you. So that happened.
That was pretty good, actually.
I can't believe I could stay in the voice that long. That was tough. Because that's one of the harder voices for me to do. So.
Oh, that
I'd
is.
also like to point out that my name got misspelled on that. in the fashion of Brax.
It looks fine to me.
I didn't get my name mentioned. Probably because it's hard to make Ethelros rhyme with anything.
Well, that's why
You
they
got
said
Shurs, which is close.
Yeah. I guess. Surprised anyone remembers that, to be honest.
People
Yeah, I didn't
still
know.
send in stuff about Fellowship of the Creeps. I tell you what, it's people enjoyed that. So might have to return to that someday after the roleplay podcast, maybe.
All right. Oh, we also have another letter. Local Wolf writes, "Hey everybody, this
Hey,
is Local Wolf."
Pine Leaf, can I
What?
can I interrupt you for just a second?
What?
Because Local Wolf happens to be sitting next to me right here, and I kind of like him to read his own email if that's okay.
Okay, okay.
He just kind of walked in, and I made him sit here and
Okay.
listen. Okay, go ahead and speak into the mic here.
Finally get to be a part of the show. Hello, everybody. This is Local Wolf. I might embarrass Braxwolf with this email, but that's okay. I'm saying this because I wanted to say how much I like your show. Sadly, I don't have much time to listen to it, but I make up for that time with the time I listen in when my dad is podcasting. Thanks for your minimal time it took to read this email, Local Wolf Champion of the Lowlands.
Thank you, Local Wolf, for coming on the show. That's awesome.
Thanks for coming,
All
sir.
right, thank you very much. And if you would like to send us an email, you can contact us at podcast@lotroplayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, Lotro Players @LotroPlayers, Andang @PPMP_Andang, Braxwolf @Braxwolf, Sithrith @Sithrith, Draculetta @Draculetta_72, Etheros @Etheros, Lily Kate @LilyKateBuggins, Mystery @MysteryXOX, and Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles. We have Players Alliance live shows every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. On Mondays at 8:30 p.m. server time, we have DDO Players News. On Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. server time, we have Guild Wars Players News, and that's Lotro server time. And on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. server time, we have Lotro Players News, and server time is United States Eastern Time. And you can also join us for our live shows at lotroplayers.com/live. And you can join us on Langeville for Lotro Players Adventures each Saturday at 5 p.m. server time. And thank you everyone for listening. This is Pineleaf Niels reminding you to skirmish responsibly.